Some animals are secret artists. They create designs so precise you might think they used rulers and compasses. A fish in Japan draws perfect circles in the sand without ever attending art school. A tiny insect larva builds homes from pebbles that look like delicate jewelry. Whales choreograph underwater spirals big enough to trap entire schools of fish, and crabs leave starburst patterns across beaches that would impress any landscape artist. Even a moth caterpillar can arrange sticks and leaves into a case with symmetry that would make architects jealous. They don't do it for money, fame, or likes on Instagram. Today we'll see 13 of the greatest architects on Earth. No blueprints, no tools, just instinct and a touch of madness. Let's dive in. 12. White-spotted pufferfish. This guy makes crop circles underwater. The male white-spotted pufferfish, living near Japan's Amami-Oshima Island, spends 7 to 9 days building a sand masterpiece up to 2 meters across. He uses only his fins to carve perfectly symmetrical ridges and valleys, forming what looks like a giant flower. The design isn't for fun, it's his dating profile. Female pufferfish inspect the patterns, and if they're impressed, they lay eggs in the center. The ridges even help calm water so the eggs stay safe. The whole thing was first filmed in 2011, and scientists were stunned by the geometry. And here's the twist. Once the tide washes it away, he doesn't cry about it. He just starts over. If IKEA hired pufferfish, we'd all have perfect furniture. Nature didn't give him tools, but somehow he's a better designer than most of us with an app. 11. Caddisfly larvae. Caddisfly larvae live in freshwater streams, but instead of hiding under rocks, they build portable homes. Using silk they produce, they glue together bits of pebbles, twigs, shells, or even snail pieces. The result? A tiny armored tube that looks like handcrafted jewelry. They arrange the pieces so neatly it's hard to believe they're working with no ruler or glue gun. French artist Hubert Duprat famously gave some larvae gold flakes and gems, and they built designer cases that belong in a museum. Even in the wild, their homes are symmetrical and secure, protecting them from fish with expensive taste. And here's the kicker. They carry these houses everywhere, basically inventing mobile homes before humans did. If they were bigger, they'd be running an Etsy store by now. 10. Humpback whales. Some whales just eat fish. Humpbacks, they trap them with art. These giants use a trick called bubble net feeding. A group dives, then swims upward in a spiral, blowing a wall of bubbles around a school of fish. The circle tightens and boom, the fish are trapped in it like a floating cage. At the signal, all the whales shoot up through the middle, mouths open, having what's basically a group buffet. The nets can be more than 30 meters wide, and the teamwork is so precise that scientists believe it's taught, not instinct. That means whales pass it down like family recipes. Drone footage shows the nets from above, huge shimmering spirals in the sea. Watching it makes you wonder, if we can barely organize a group dinner with friends, how are these whales pulling off synchronized fishing parties? If you like the video so far, leave a like, and you can also check out 15 most amazing and largest nests in the animal world on our channel Forever Green. 9. Sand bubble crabs. If neat freaks had claws, they'd be sand bubbler crabs. Found on tropical beaches in Southeast Asia and Northern Australia, these tiny crustaceans come out during low tide with one mission: eat and decorate. They sift through sand for microscopic bits of food, then roll the clean grains into perfect little balls. These balls are placed in radiating lines from their burrow, creating huge sunburst patterns. One crab can decorate an area several feet wide. And when hundreds are at work, the beach turns into a giant art gallery. The designs aren't just random, they mark feeding zones and help crabs avoid bumping into neighbors. Sadly, the tide erases everything in hours, but these crabs don't mope. They rebuild every single day, proving persistence is part of their DNA. Fun fact, their art has inspired actual human artwork and even beach tourism in Thailand. And yes, if you mess up their pattern, they'll fix it, probably muttering crab insults under their breath. 8. Bagworm moth larvae. Bagworm moth larvae don't just hide, they turn camouflage into a lifestyle. Found in forests worldwide, these little architects collect twigs, leaves, and plant bits, then arrange them into a portable case. The design is so tidy it looks like a handmade necklace for insects. They attach their creation to their backs using silk, and as they grow, they add more layers, keeping the shape symmetrical. In some species, the sticks are aligned like fence posts, giving the whole thing a mini log cabin look. Birds often fly right past them because the bag blends perfectly with the surroundings. The cases can be so strong that predators like ants can't get in without a serious fight. Fun fact, in Japan, bagworm cases have been collected and displayed for their beauty, and scientists study their silk because it's waterproof and incredibly durable. When it's time to become a moth, the larvae simply seals the bag, transforms inside, and walks out in a whole new outfit. Nature's version of a home makeover show. 7. Bottlenose dolphins. Some dolphins do tricks for crowds, but wild bottlenose dolphins have a favorite game: blowing perfect bubble rings. These aren't sloppy bursts of air, they're stable vortex rings that can hover underwater for minutes. Using their blowholes, dolphins release a stream of air while flicking their heads in just the right motion to spin the bubbles into a ring. Sometimes they play with it, pushing it with their noses or biting it so it splits into smaller rings. Scientists think it's partly for fun, but it also shows serious control of physics. Making and maintaining a bubble ring takes precision in water movement and timing. Dolphins have been seen teaching young ones how to make them, which means it's a learned skill. And here's the mind-blowing part. The math behind these rings is the same used in studying black holes and smoke vortexes. So yeah, while we're messing up bubblegum, dolphins are out here casually playing with science. If that's not showing off, I don't know what is. 6. Weaver ants. These ants don't just build architecture, they become it. In tropical Asia and Africa, weaver ants form massive nests high in tree canopies by literally sewing leaves together. How? They grip the edges of leaves, pull them into place, and then use their larvae like glue guns. The larvae produces silk, and the workers press their silk-spinning babies along the seam to stitch the leaves together. One colony can have dozens of these green tents, all connected by ant highways. The nests are waterproof, strong, and can house thousands of ants. Weaver ants are also fierce defenders. Farmers in China have used them for centuries to protect fruit orchards from pests. Fun fact, they're so organized that if a leaf is too far away to pull by themselves, they form living chains, hanging from each other until they grab it. That's teamwork. And trust. If humans tried this, we'd probably just drop each other. Before proceeding to our next selection, we invite you to explore our video on 14 most amazing buildings with crazy architecture. Now, back to our list. 5. Damselfish. Some fish chase food. Damselfish, they farm it. Species like Stygatus nigricans in the Indo-Pacific keep underwater algae gardens. They weed out unwanted algae species, chase away intruding fish, and even harvest the good algae for meals. Their gardens are carefully maintained patches on coral or rock, usually shaped in neat borders. Scientists have found that damselfish can recognize their favorite algae types and protect them like prized roses. And they're not shy about defending their turf. They'll even attack divers who get too close. In some areas, damselfish farms have been tended for decades, passed down like ocean real estate. This farming also changes the local reef ecosystem, which means these little fish are actually influencing ocean landscaping. They might not have tractors, but they've got attitude and teeth. If fish could wear overalls, damselfish would. 4. Antlion larvae. These guys are basically the James Bond villains of the insect world. Antlion larvae dig perfectly conical pits in sandy soil designed to make prey slide right into their jaws. The walls of the pit are at the exact angle of repose for the sand, steep enough that nothing can climb out. When an ant or small insect stumbles in, the antlion flicks sand at it to make it fall faster. Once caught, the prey is pulled under like a bad scene in a quicksand movie. Found in warm, sandy regions worldwide, they spend most of their youth hiding at the bottom of these traps. Only their jaws showing. The pits aren't random. Each one is carefully measured so it's the right size for the antlion's hunting needs. Some can rebuild an entire pit in less than an hour if the wind destroys it. Basically, they're tiny, patient engineers with a taste for drama and bugs. 3. The spaced-out neighbors. From a distance, a colony of garden eels looks like a field of seagrass swaying in the current. Get closer, and you'll see hundreds of long, thin fish sticking halfway out of burrows in the sandy ocean floor. Found in tropical seas, these eels anchor themselves with their tails and stay put, catching plankton drifting past. What's impressive is their perfect spacing. Each eel keeps just the right distance from its neighbors, forming a natural grid across the seabed. Too close and they'll fight. Too far and they'll miss out on food. This precise arrangement creates an underwater neighborhood where everyone knows their boundaries. When a diver or predator approaches, the whole colony vanishes into the sand in seconds, leaving behind a bare patch of seabed. Some colonies have been in the same spot for decades, with generations of eels returning to their address. It's basically a suburb under the sea, complete with zoning laws and strict property lines. 2. The lakefront castle builders. In Lake Malawi, Africa, male cichlids are basically underwater architects competing in a never-ending home design contest. Each male scoops up sand with his mouth and spits it out in a specific pattern to build giant mounds, circular pits, or even spiral-shaped castles on the lake bed. These structures can be over a meter wide, and they're species-specific, meaning each type of cichlid has its own style blueprint. The whole goal is to impress a female who will inspect the castle before deciding if the builder is worthy. If she's not impressed, he might start remodeling immediately. This can go on for days until he gets it just right. Some males even sabotage rivals by flattening their creations at night, a classic case of fishy jealousy. Scientists studying them have discovered that females prefer bigger, more symmetrical structures, suggesting that precision equals attractiveness. Fun fact: Lake Malawi has over 700 species of cichlids, making it the Silicon Valley of fish innovation. And while we use concrete and cranes, these fish do all their work with just their mouths, basically the ocean version of DIY. 1. The desert's social housing experts. If birds had architects, sociable weavers would be the ones with their own TV show. Found in southern Africa, these little birds build the biggest nests of any bird on Earth. We're talking multi-room, multi-family complexes hanging from trees or telephone poles. One nest can house hundreds of birds at once and last for decades. The thatched roof is waterproof, and the inner chambers stay cool in summer and warm in winter. Basically, climate control. No electricity needed. Inside, the rooms are arranged like an apartment building with separate units for different families. Scientists have found nests over 20 feet wide weighing more than a ton. Some are so heavy they've snapped tree branches. Fun fact: other animals like owls and vultures often move in rent-free. turning these nests into a real wildlife high-rise. It's like a bird version of New York, crowded, noisy, and surprisingly organized. And that's it for today. See you in the next one on Forever Green.